losing clients, losing business, and all of this as you're growing is the growing pains. That's scaling. That's part of the cost of growing your team, and you need to embrace that because those are the dues that you're going to pay so that you can basically take a step back and pull that lever bigger and either make more money later because you can now have 50 agents that are doing it that can do it better than you.
All right, guys, today I'm here with Craig Curelop, and thank you so much for joining us. Did I say that right? Let me repeat that if I need to.
No, you said it right, my man.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It took you a few times in the intro or
Yeah.
prior to recording, but you got it when it mattered. So,
All right, let me redo it. All right, guys, today I'm here with Craig Curelop, and he is out of Denver, but also you're located all over. Your team is growing, so I would love for you to share a little bit about that. We met through GoBundance, which is a networking group of like-minded individuals and hard-charging men. But would love for you to share your journey, your story. I know you're not just a real estate agent and team leader, so there's a lot more to it. But I guess today's conversation is mostly geared towards agents, but also maybe you can give them some inspiration on other things that you can open their eyes towards. But thank you so much for joining me today.
yeah, Wilson, thanks so much for having me. I heard you were starting a show, and I'm blessed to be one of your first guests. So,
I
I
am
think I made
equally
the top
grateful and
five. So,
honored for you
yeah,
to be a part of it. So, but let's start with your journey. Tell
yeah.
us a little bit about how long you've been in the industry, real estate sales, and maybe how you got into it.
Sure. So I got my license in 2017, but I did nothing with it for 2.5 years. So I didn't start representing other people until late 2019. And so let me rewind back as to why I got my license at first. So in 2017, I started working at a little company called BiggerPockets. Many of your audience might have heard of it. And they were just preaching house hacking, house hacking, house hacking. And that was the way to get into real estate investing as a new investor. So that's what I did. I moved to Denver in 2017. I purchased my first house hack in 2017. And later, 2017, I got my real estate license to just represent myself. I just figured, hey, if I can do one deal a year, which I think I'm going to do, and I can make $10,000 commission once a year, that's worth the $2,000 I'm going to pay a year to be an agent, right? So I said, no brainer. I'm going to become an agent and just represent myself once a year. And I did that for 2018 and 2019. At the very end of 2019, one of my best friends at the time was like, hey, I kind of want to do this little thing called house hacking that you're doing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. He's like, well, would you want to be my agent? I mean, you've done it 3 times. And I said, I literally actually, I actually denied him at first. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to focus on my own stuff. And then he kind of like pestered me. And I was like, okay, I will help you. What could happen, right? It'll be fun. Go and see houses with friends, all that stuff. And so, end of 2019 comes around. We find him a perfect house hack. At the end of that, I get paid another commission of $10,000. And I was like, that was actually really fun. And now he's got something. I'm helping him rent out his rooms. He's living for free. And I just made some money off of it. And so, like, he's super happy. I'm super happy. And that's kind of when it clicked. And I was like, oh, I could do this for a lot of people. And rather than just being selfish and helping myself, I can help out hopefully hundreds and hundreds of people achieve financial independence through real estate investing. And so that was kind of, the genesis of me being a real estate agent, and then which ended up blossoming into the FI team.
Love that. And that kind of explains the FI team's, history. But in your words, how would you describe your team? Because I think you have a unique niche that you serve in terms of the clientele, but also obviously you serve all clients in the residential space.
Yeah, so we are definitely in the residential space, but our niche definitely right now is we are investor-friendly real estate agents. And so I would say 90% of the agents on our team own at least one investment property, and they're investment minded. And so we're more than your agent that's just going to go around, open the door, fill out a contract, and negotiate on your behalf. Sure, we're going to do all that, but we're also going to help coach, guide, and mentor anybody who needs help investing through that process, right? You first move to Denver or Seattle or wherever we're at, and you need a contractor. Well, we got that, right? We got leases for you. We can help you set up your Airbnb, whatever strategy you want to do. We've seen hundreds of people do it. And so, why not just lean on our experience? And that way you can increase your odds of success, getting the most amount of your property and hopefully getting towards that financial independence number as soon as you can.
And that is such a niche, not in a way that is consumer facing necessarily, but so much value add for your agents. And maybe you can share a little bit about how much your team has grown because you're not just located in one place. The FI team is, in multiple places now. Tell us about the team, where are you guys located? Where can people find you? And then also, I guess, one thing we talk about on this show is production numbers, just because it's a validity towards you adding value to the marketplace.
Sure. Yeah. So 2022, we started expanding to some different markets. I guess to back up a little bit, right? Like my first year, I was a solo agent by myself in 2020, and I did over 100 deals by myself. And I was basically at the point of I am going to burn out and maybe I can do it one more year and then I'm quitting and never doing this again, or I can create a team and help more people. So that's kind of where like the team aspect started. And so end of 2020, I started the team. We were just operating in Denver for pretty much a year and a half, 2 years. About June, July of 2022, we expanded into two different markets, or three different markets rather: Seattle, San Diego, Inland Empire area, so like Southern California, and Northern Idaho, Coeur d'Alene. And so now we're doing this exactly what we're doing in Denver. We're just copy and pasting that in those different markets. And so in 2022, our team did, I think, like $75 million of production.
Amazing.
And that might be 130 or so deals. And so yeah, so that's where we're at. And, we're continuing to grow and continuing to hopefully, again, just help more and more people achieve that main mission of financial independence.
Love that. And I think you just answered my question that I'm going to ask you, but how are you picking your markets? And would you say your motto is suitable in any market? Which I would imagine it is, because there's always people wanting to build financial independence, and, real estate's a great way to be able to do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So a- any market will work, right? People house hack in LA, they house hack in San Francisco, right? All the way to the house hack in Little Rock, Arkansas. And so the strategy may change, right? You might be doing a little bit more short term rental if you're in the Bay Area where prices are a little bit more expensive. You need to juice that a little bit more. Whereas in, Little Rock, Arkansas, it might just be you're buying a triplex for 100 grand and you're renting that out kind of like a traditional rental. And so based on the area that you're in, we can kind of help you guide you through what strategy is the best. And again, that may, and every person is different, right? There's people in Denver, for example, that really want to do short-term rentals. And Denver just so happens to be a place where short-term rentals really work. But if someone doesn't want to do short-term rentals, they can do long-term rental. They may not make as much money, but they don't want to do that work. And so there's that balance of more money, less work, more money, more work, less money, less work. And so, but there's definitely still that baseline of passive income.
Love that. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. And you mentioned something, obviously your representations per year, and that adds up to a certain amount of production. That is actually very rare for someone to go from brand new agent, and I think you said 2020 because you got your license and you didn't really use it, to 2022, you represented quite a few people. What would you say has contributed to that? And maybe it's tied to what could be your superpower or your secret sauce.
Yeah, so I said my superpower was remembering birthdays, but I don't know if that is if that's truly going to help you grow your real estate business that much. Maybe a little bit, but I guess what my superpower is probably just attracting like people. I think I'm a pretty likable person. I try not to take advantage of anybody. I never let money get in the way of like a relationship. And so if I'm going to lose a couple $1,000s to save a relationship, I'll do that pretty much anytime. And I think people see that, right? People know that I'm not just money driven, that like at the FI team, we truly do have a purpose. Like our big, hairy, audacious goal is to reduce the US retirement age by 10 years. And our mission is to help people do that by helping them achieve financial independence through real estate investing. And so if we can help a small segment of the population and contribute to that overarching goal of reducing the US retirement age, that is what our team is. And people can see that and people want that. Once, most of our agents now were just clients of mine, right? And they've seen it right now like I've helped them buy 2, 3, 4 properties. They're now financially free and they're like, holy crap, this thing works, I want to go help other people, right? And so then it just becomes this networking effect. And yeah, I mean, that's really how we've grown. It's been pretty organic, honestly.
Dude, I love your mission because our mission has always been surrounded around building wealthy real estate. But how do you measure that? And what you just shared, shortening or speeding up the retirement, if like giving people a choice where they could speed up the retirement age by 10 years, that is tangibly 10 more years where they can do, on average at least. I'm sure your team members and some of your clients that are working closely with you strategically can plan it out a lot faster as well. But an average of 10 years, that is incredible. I was going to
Hmm.
do flipping incredible, but that is incredible. So I really appreciate you sharing that. I think that's such a big takeaway in itself that we could end this podcast right now and have that simmer and resonate for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of why we picked 55, right? Because we know that we're not going, like, people are just totally against it, right? But if we can get a good portion of the population to retire by age 40, right, that would still bring down that retirement age quite a bit. And I think like a lot of people that our client, most of our clients are in their mid 20s, early 30s, and they've got their eyes set on retirement in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's so possible and it's achievable time and time again.
I'm sure you already do it. It's almost like, how can you spread this message more by having your evidence of like the people that you help speak to it? I'm sure you do that already, but that's just what comes to mind because it's such a powerful message, especially if there's people being the living proof of the byproduct of being involved in your help. So,
Mm.
um, talk to us a little bit about your team. I know you mentioned briefly you're in a couple places. How's it run? I mean, do you have a hub of staff? Like, give us a visual of it. How does it look like?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm kind of like the visionary, right? Which is like the buzzword that everybody likes to use these days. Obviously the founder. I've got kind of like my integrator person. I come up with ideas. She kind of helps me synthesize them and put them into action. And we kind of call her like chief of staff. I'm not really good with like names. I think that's all BS. We kind of just whatever. Um, so she's kind of like my chief of staff is what we call her. Um, and then I've got a marketing person. She helps us. She helps our agents. If they want to throw a meetup, for example, we help them start their own meetups, and so can be a big task. Well, we've got a graphics person, we've got the connections, we can do everything. So it's a pretty seamless thing for agents to do. Um, Coordinating events, just anything marketing. She's going to help us with agent recruitment. She's helping us with the website, just anything marketing. That's her purview. And then we also have a CRM upkeeper kind of person, CRM management, client relations management. And she's basically just making sure that all of our agents are actually like using our CRM. No clients are slipping through the cracks because I'm sure Wilson, like you forget to put a to do up there, then it's been like 8 months before you contact somebody, and then they already bought a house with somebody else, right? And so we just don't want anybody slipping through the cracks. And then we've got a VA and a graphics guy out of the country, and yeah, that's pretty much the team.
It lagged a little bit there, so, but I'm sure
Okay.
you finish what you said, and we'll cut this part out.
Yeah. Oh,
But I
I can say
appreciate
one.
you. Yep,
I can
go for it.
let me. You can rejig this, but I'll add one more thing too. Um, and so those are all the people that are on our payroll that kind of just get paid a monthly salary, as well as a transaction coordinator too. Forgot about her, who was amazing. I love our transaction coordinator. But we also have in each market that we have what's called a lead agent. And so that lead agent is there to help the new people get through our boot camp. And when it comes time to write an offer for the first time, they'll review the offer, they'll ask any of those questions, and we pay those lead agents per transaction that the new agents do. So that's another way to support.
Amazing. So at least it scales and it doesn't necessarily always need your attention or leadership. Obviously,
Exactly.
you'll be there if they really need you, but
Mhm.
there's layers of different types of support within the organization. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What's your best advice for either someone that's new, that's going at it, or someone that is seasoned but hit a plateau?
Man, I think everybody, you got to kind of figure out, everyone's got different pain points, right? You got to figure out what really drives you, and not to sound cliche, but like what gets you up in the morning, and just like go all in at that. Because if you're building your business through cold calls and you hate cold calling, you're not going to survive. It's just not going to last, right? You just can't fight through that pain for that long. So like what really gets me up in the morning, right, is helping people achieve financial independence. And so, I've built my whole business on that. And now we have an obstacle right now where it's like, okay, like we get a good amount of leads, investor leads, but we almost have more agents, not more agents than leads, but it's hard. We're growing so fast that like, how do we keep pumping leads to these agents? And so, now we're coming to that hurdle of, okay, how do we do the PPC leads, Wilson, which we've talked about too. And it's
Right.
like, let's build that engine. And once that engine is built, then we have unlimited growing capability. And so, if you're just starting out, figure out what lead gen method is your favorite and go all in at that. When you have too many leads to work and you're just so darn busy, you need to create a team, create your team, get your systems in place, and keep doing what you're really good at. And then at some point, if your team grows so big, you're going to need to figure out how to continue to service them and give them leads. In which case, you have a different obstacle, and you have to. That's business. That's challenging business.
Right. Well, what I hear you say, thank you for it, is pick the vertical that you're good at or you believe is going to get the results and just keep doing it and add to it later on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's your best investment you've made, whether it be yourself, your business, or maybe actually an investment in something like real estate in 2022?
That's such a good question, man. So it's funny that this year in 2022, we only bought like two properties, um, and none of them have performed that well. So I will say that my best 2022 investment was probably the coaching that I've done. Um, so I was coaching with this like brand coach for the first quarter of 2022, and he was great. But then I like had this revelation that I didn't want to be like this famous Instagram person, and moved into the hey, I want to really build a real estate agent team. And so I coach with Courtney Atkinson of the Atkinson team. If you haven't had him on your podcast, you definitely should get him on. And he's helped me tremendously. And so yeah, I'm going to continue to do that and work with him.
Love Courtney. I'll definitely reach out to him. And I mean, you're already a IG celebrity, so I don't know what you're saying that you don't want to
there's
be. You
there's
are.
always more. There's always more. It's like
I know it's what they say. There's different levels of what type of influencer you are, but you're an
yeah.
influencer in my eyes, and
Thanks,
you
Wilson.
have a great message to share that resonates with me a lot. So let's shift gears a little bit. What is the number one quality you look for nowadays as you're growing your team in an agent? Like, is it a value that you hold? Is it something that they do? Like, share with us.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's funny. We have like five values on our team, like our core values, and one of them is definitely the extreme accountability. Right? Are they making excuses? Are they not making excuses? The other is just like how badly do they want it? Right? How badly do they want to help people out? And are they willing to like? Do they have that abundance mindset? I've kicked people off of our team before for not having an abundant mindset. That is the number one thing that we look for. Is the best part about our team is that you can come on, ask for help, ask a question, you're going to get an answer. Like you're going to get an answer from somebody within a couple hours at the very latest. And I think that's so like that culture that we've created is absolutely amazing. So that's the one thing. Like that's kind of the more abstract thing that everybody says. The thing that's super concrete that we look for in a new agent is we have this 30-day boot camp that we created. If they can get through that boot camp in 30 days, that is like a litmus test for us. If they can get through that in 30 days, then I know that they're ready, they're motivated, and they're going to kick some ass. If it takes them 6 months, I'm not even paying attention to them. Whatever. They can take the email for $80 a year, and like if they close the deal, a couple deals a year, great. But until they show me that they're actually dedicated and trying, I don't pour into them. So that's how I figure out who I'm actually going to pour into, and who I'm just going to whatever let do their thing.
Love that. That's win-win in my eyes. Like they
Mm-hmm.
have to put in the time and effort and show you that it's worth for you pouring into them and spending time with them. So, and your time is super valuable. You do a lot of things. You lead a huge team, right? And you have other things going on too. So that really
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. If you don't mind sharing, what's maybe a big fail that you've gone through and how did you overcome it? It could be industry specific, it could be personal, but a lot of successful people I meet, including you, have gone through a lot. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like giving people some context of something would be very insightful and helpful.
Okay, I'll do this like two-part answer where one is kind of like vague and the other is very concrete. The vague one is shoot, I just lost it. Um, Hold on, give me a second. You'll obviously
Yeah,
cut
take your
this.
time. Take your time.
Yeah. Two mistakes that I made.
Or a big
Um,
fail, you know,
a big fail.
and how you overcome
Okay,
it.
I'll say the I'll just say the concrete one. Um, okay, actually, I got it. Okay, so two mistakes that I made. I'll give you a concrete one and I'll give you one that's a little bit more vague. So the vague one is just not having enough clarity on where to go and just kind of taking action before really thinking. I'm not very patient and I recognize that. And I try to kind of take a step back, get clear before I start spending money willy nilly. But sometimes I get shiny object syndrome and I'm like, oh yeah, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, let's try that. And then like, I spent 25 grand on this website and this website build out that literally is sitting there not being used at all, right? And so that is kind of one thing that I'm realizing that I've been working on is make sure you're clear before you actually go ahead and take action, or at least 80% clear, right? Because you'll never be 100%, but get to 80% and then take action. The second thing that in kind of a growing pain that I had was I had a lot of problems letting go. And so again, I did 100 or so transactions in my first year, which is a lot, right? And I made more money than I make now in that first year because my margins were so good. And when I started hiring on agents, they weren't doing as good a job as me. Well, of course not. They haven't done 100 deals in the past year, right? People talk about being in real estate for 20 years. I think 100 deals in the last year is way more experience than 520 years. And so of course they weren't as good as me and I lost clients that way. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it all myself again. And I took it back and I just started doing it myself again. And so it took me probably like 6 months of like taking back, giving away before actually being like, you know what, no, like losing clients, losing business, and all of this as you're growing is the growing pains. That's scaling. That's part of the cost of growing your team, and you need to embrace that because those are the dues that you're going to pay, so that you can basically take a step back and pull that lever bigger and either make more money later because you can now have 50 agents that are doing it that can do it better than you, or in my case, at least for the first year, I was able to work so much less last year. In the summertime, I was working like 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. I was really living it up. And so, whatever lifestyle you want to live, whether that's grow your business or have more free time, you have that option.
Two things I heard that are my takeaways is number one is, yeah, when you succeed, you're going to have a harder time letting go. But unless you go through that journey yourself, you're not going to be able to learn about the delegation process or receiving help, even if people want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about the second one. Dang, I lost the second one.
Oh, man. It's contagious. Yeah.
I had a really good one too. I mean, I said two, but damn, what was it?
No pressure.
It was so good.
I said that, and being clear was my other thing before you start spending money. I don't know if it has
being
anything to do with
clear.
that.
We'll just move on to the next question.
Okay.
Craig, tell me about what excites you most about the future.
What excites me most about the future is, I don't know, man. It's also exciting. It's so exciting to get more and more people on board this train and educating people about, financial independence and house hacking and helping real estate agents hit their goals and all of the stuff that I feel like that we're doing. That like the amount of people that I've impacted, like so far is so satisfying, and to know that it's just going to become more and more and more, like, it's amazing, right? Because like these days you have no excuse. Like if you truly want to become a millionaire, if you truly want to achieve financial independence, if you truly want to help somebody, all of the resources are there so that you can do it. And I feel like I've like personally been responsible for probably like maybe 5 to 10 people whose net worths are now $1 million or more. So like not solely responsible, but I've played a a decent part in it. And I think like that feels really good to help more and more people achieve financial independence so that they can go and do the things that they truly want to do. Because I truly, was my passion is I don't think anybody was meant to sit behind a cubicle and work for 40 hours a week, right? Like you got to go live your life, and everyone's got a bigger purpose than that.
Love that. Thank you for that. Where can people find you? I mean, if people want to connect, I'm sure people are going to be resonating with your message and how much you not only help your clients, but your agents accomplish speeding up their retirement age, which is pretty insane.
Yeah. So you can reach out to me. I'm the Fi Guy on Instagram, THEFI, like financial independence guy. And that'll, I mean, I answer most of my messages. So if you're direct messaging me, I will get back to you as long as you say something that's somewhat valuable and not just like hi. Um, and yeah, or you can come check out the Fi Team. It's thefiteam.com.
Love that. Craig, thank you so much for your insights, your inspiration. I'm going to have to revisit this to take some notes from it myself. And I'm sure people are going to be reaching out to you for additional insights and help and everything. So,
Absolutely. If you've got any questions or anything, I'm an open book and I try to be as transparent as possible. I just love to see everybody succeed. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Wilson.